Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And right now where I am, it is the tail end of August 2025. About a week or so ago, the Criterion Collection made its announcement with respect to its planned releases for November 2025, so a few months down the road from the time I'm making this video. So if it's okay with you, you and I, let's look at the planned releases from Criterion. And if it's okay, I'd like to share my thoughts and comments with respect to such planned releases for November 2025 from none other than the Criterion Collection. My dear friends, so I'm looking at the Criterion Collection website right now, and of course this is regarding future releases as of the time of this video, so things might change between now and the time of the actual release, so I'm relying on such information. These are my initial impressions and thoughts, and also my feelings might change when I actually look at the item or look at the film again upon the new release. So, but if that's okay with you, let us proceed forward. Again, if you want further information, I strongly recommend that you go to the Criterion Collection website directly. There you can find information about the specifications, the planned special features to be included, projected cover art designs, etc., and also write-ups on the films. And also, for regard, such information will be made available for anything in the physical media catalog of Criterion. So please check out the website directly. But without further ado, let's go to what's scheduled first, or what's listed first here. And this is scheduled for release, according to the site, on November 4th, 2025. And this is for a title which is at spine number 905. So it actually already currently exists in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog under a really good Blu-ray. But it looks like on the occasion of November, Criterion will be re-releasing this, but this time employing the 4K plus Blu-ray physical media format, and releasing a version which is described here as being, among other things, a new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. Very interesting. And this is the film which is described as being from the year 1985. And the name of the filmmaker is John Hughes. And the name of the film is The Breakfast Club. So I saw The Breakfast Club back in the 80s. It wasn't in the theater, but it was in the 80s. I wasn't a teenager in the 80s. I was much younger than our protagonists that we know in the film. The Breakfast Club is teenagers from the 80s, and their sort of interactions and goings on in the context of school detention. So it seems like it's a very generationally contextual thing. Very wonderfully so, very wonderfully rendered, kind of classic in that era. Or in the era, so it's one of the greats, and John Hughes is one of those great filmmakers from the period. The Breakfast Club being one of his most, I think, prominent works. So I remember watching The Breakfast Club, but I was of an age where I looked at the characters there, and they were older than I. So I felt like it was kind of maybe one step removed. Oh, high school is gonna be like that, or detention is gonna be like that, or my or goings on with regard to friendships and stuff might be like that in the future. Sort of in a kind of general. Maybe general, almost amorphous sense, almost like almost maybe aspirational in many ways, because it's such I think an inviting film. And The Breakfast Club is a film for me that is one that's kind of always been around. It's the way it fell in that particular time in the 80s or the mid 80s, and then also just in the trajectory of my own life. It's a film that's always been around. So when I got the Criterion Blu-ray, whenever it was, several years back, it was a whole lot of fun to revisit it in that context. Really great, and I like that Blu-ray very much. But we shall see what this new 4K, because it's described as a new 4K digital restoration, we shall see what that has to offer. So I look forward to re-exploring the film again, but this time in that 4K restoration, whatever that means. However, that being said, I'm very content with how the film looks and feels for me anyway on the Blu-ray. But we shall see. And I mean, if you know the film, you know it has a great cast. Anthony Michael Hall, Emilio Estevez, Ali Sheedy, Molly Ringwald. It's so great. And Judd Nelson, yes. And so these are just like iconic names in an iconic film, and it's wonderful to see that type of school angst embodiment, which John Hughes does, I think, quite a lot in his body of work. But The Breakfast Club has a certain, I think, very potent angle approach to it, which makes it, I think, it's a wonderful kind of time capsule film, but it's also one that has this universal appeal. And I think really excellent films have the ability to cross over in that way. So I'm very excited for the possibilities for this. Again, November 4th, 2025 is the projected release date for the 4K plus Blu-ray release. The Blu-ray is currently available. But for the 4K plus Blu-ray release, we're looking at a November 4th, 2025 release. And again, spine number 905. And the film is The Breakfast Club. Next, scheduled for release November 11th, 2025. And this is for either a single disc Blu-ray or a 4K plus Blu-ray double disc release. So the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc in one release. So you have the choice of either two releases, single disc or the 4K plus Blu-ray discs release. This is designated as being at spine number 1287. And the filmmaker is, and the film is described as being from the year 1990. Filmmaker is Reginald Hudlin. And the name of the film is House Party. So House Party is coming to the Criterion Collection under what's described as being a new 4K digital restoration, supervised by director of photography Peter Deming and approved by writer-director Reginald Hudlin, with 4.0 surround DTS HD for the soundtrack, according to what the Criterion site says. Oh my goodness, Kid and Play. This is exciting. So... it would be interesting to know. Okay, so we have a House Party. Again, this is from like 90s or early 90s, like 1990, right? So I remember seeing this, and Kid and Play was they were really popular. And so he just got caught up in. So it was just a natural thing to go watch the film House Party, and then just not knowing too much about it, except being part of this this sort of cultural sort of popularity shift, and watching it and enjoying it, but not realizing that we'd be talking about it in the context of a 4K release from Criterion. So this is really exciting. This is a lot of fun. I mean, it's such a fun film. It's very, very fun. I don't have it on disc at the moment, but I do remember seeing it back in the day and just enjoying it very much. It's this it's another teen comedy of sorts, so very much in line with sort of teen comedy drama that's being set up in terms of the November releases from the earlier discussion we had for the Breakfast Club. So this is another approach to that type of genre, but it's also done in its own, I think, unique way. That's that has a lot of energy to it, and has a lot of nice spins to it. There are a number of turns as well in terms of the what's going to happen at this party that's being set. That's sort of the context of the proceedings of the film House Party. So it's House Party. So This is great. This is really great, and Kid and Play, and the whole, yeah. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that are going to happen if you haven't seen Kid and Play's House Party. But this is a lot of fun. This is really great, and it's going to come to the Criterion Collection. So wonderful stuff indeed. And it looks like there's going to be amongst the special features, we have a new audio commentary with the writer director. So that's very exciting. Very, very exciting indeed. Oh, this is so much fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. Oh, it would have been cool if there would have been maybe like a box set of, because there are other house party movies. It would have been interesting if the Criterion could have done a box set. But oh well, I can't complain at all because this is looking to be. Uh, uh, I'm just. This just makes me happy just to think that it's going to be coming to Criterion in November. Oh my goodness, fantastic! And that artwork looks great too, by the way. The artist is Gabe Tiberino, according to the site. So, this is I'm really really happy about this one. And so for spine number 1287. This is the film from 1990, and this is the film which is House Party. Next, scheduled for release also November 11th, 2025, and this is with regard to a title that is designated spine number 287. So this currently exists in the Criterion Collection, actually. It exists currently in the form of a DVD, which was at the time of its release a high def transfer. That was the description. But this time, on the occasion of 2025 November, it looks like we're going to get a new Blu-ray release of this and also a 4K Blu-ray release of this, which, according to the details here, is described as being purported to be based upon a new 4K digital restoration. And this is a film which is described as being from the year 1982, and the name of the filmmaker is Les Blanc, and the name of the film is Burden of Dreams. Burden of Dreams is re-emerging. It actually, as I say, it already currently exists in the Criterion Collection. It exists here, and this is the DVD that I have. It's really nice. It has very... it has, among other things, this nice book on, in terms of facsimiles of photojournals, excerpts, etc. So, production journals, etc. So, Les Blanc's Burden of Dreams, with regard to another filmmaker's film, and that other filmmaker being Werner Herzog, and that film being Fitzcarraldo. So, this is a documentary which is, in a sense, trying to capture sort of a certain making of spirit with regard to this epic work, which is Herzog's Fitzcarraldo. And if you know the film Fitzcarraldo, you know that film itself is its own gargantuan effort, both in terms of the story and also in terms of the making of the production. So, and part of the myth of Herzog and part of the myth of Fitzcarraldo, Herzog's film, is also how it was achieved, or what were the efforts that were expended on the part of the filmmakers in order to try to achieve what we end up seeing in Fitzcarraldo. This film, Burden of Dreams, is not Fitzcarraldo. It is Les Blanc's attempt to try to look at or try to capture in a documentary form, that behind the scenes, in a sense, spirit, or what was the spirit in regards to the injection of cinematic energy towards the project that was Fitzcarraldo. So it is a documentary document, right, about this highlighting the production of this film, and it is a very complex production, and we see glimpses of that in Blanc's Burden of Dreams here. So this is, I think, this is one of those great documentaries with regard to one of the great filmmakers from Les Blanc, who is so just fantastic. I think Yes, I'm very happy that this is going to be reemerging in the Criterion collection. I mean, it's, as I say, it's great. If you haven't seen it, you can get the DVD, but it looks like if you're waiting for what's going to be described as a 4K or new digital restoration, excuse me, of the documentary, then you have your chance in November. So it's remarkable. It's really remarkable. I would say that um, if I mean it's going to benefit. It's going to benefit your viewing of Burden of Dreams if you are able to watch ahead of time the film Fitzcarraldo, directed by Werner Herzog. So, Fitzcarraldo, as of the time of this video, is not, as far as I understand, it's not in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog, but I think there are many options that might be available for you to be able to watch Fitzcarraldo by Werner Herzog. I think that it's a I think those works go hand in hand. So if you are able to watch Fitzcarraldo, the Werner Herzog film, which is the basis for this documentary Burden of Dreams, then I strongly recommend that you watch Fitzcarraldo, and then you can really begin to maybe become engaged more into Les Blancs' world here that he is rendering. It is so, I mean, kind of, there's some aspects you just have to see it to believe it type of thing. And even when you see it, you still can't believe it. That's the world that we're talking about when we're talking about Fitzcarraldo. So, and Burden of Dreams, I think, does a great, almost Herculean effort in a way in trying to capture that Herculean effort. So there are a lot of parallels that are going on, which are fascinating. I should point out, too, that there are some interesting, as I mentioned, contours with regard to the physical media traits, the paraphernalia, and the physical media goodies that we might see. I'm talking about not just the film and DVD itself, but also the nice robust booklet. It's a very robust booklet, as I mentioned. So it looks like we're going to get, I hope, a same booklet treatment with regard to the sort of the reproduction, sort of the production journals. So I hope we get that. It looks like we are, according to the description here. So it says an essay which we get, but also a book of excerpts from Maureen Gosling and Les Blanc. So I hope that we get a form of that when we get the Blu-ray or the 4K Blu-ray. So 4K plus Blu-ray. So yes, this is great stuff. Great documentary, focusing from Les Blanc in relation to Fitzcarraldo by Werner Herzog. So you're getting so much here. And Criterion is now re-releasing this in the context of November. So yes, November 11th, 2025. It already exists in the Criterion collection, but for November, you're going to get a new Blu-ray, and you're going to get the 4K plus Blu-ray release of this film at spine number 287, and it is Burden of Dreams. Next, scheduled for release on November 18th, 2025. And this is a Blu-ray set, a 3-disc Blu-ray set. And let me just get right to it. The name of the set is Eclipse Series 47, ABBAS KIAROSTAMI, Early Shorts and Features. And let me just describe here, or let me name the films that are described as being part of the set. Bread and Alley, Break Time, Experience, The Traveler, Two Solutions for One Problem, So Can I, Colors, A Wedding Suit, Tribute to Teachers, Solution Number 1, First Case, Second Case, Toothache, Orderly or Disorderly, The Chorus, Fellow Citizen, First Graders, Homework. There's a lot to say about this, so let me see. Okay, so the Eclipse series is back in terms of physical media releases. As we know, the there was this great run of DVD sets called the ECLIPSE series, which started many years back. But it was an endeavor to try to release in physical media form maybe films in a kind of DVD collection that maybe would also be seen as exploring certain other aspects of maybe a filmmaker or film movement, and so we have these great DVD sets called the ECLIPSE series, and we've had over 40 of them. But then all of a sudden, they tended to sort of dwindle in terms of release number until we got to a point where maybe a few years back we got our last ECLIPSE series set in DVD form, but then we didn't get anything beyond that. Now, I think a number of people have observed and maybe surmised and assumed that maybe one of the main reasons for this is the advent of the Criterion channel, the Criterion Collection streaming service, which seems to, in many ways, scratch the itch that the ECLIPSE series DVD sets had done. After all, if you remember, the ECLIPSE series DVD sets were, I think, they came to prominence before the advent of streaming, and then Criterion and all the forms of Criterion streaming endeavors, until we get to what we know now, which is the Criterion channel. So perhaps to some, the Criterion channel was itself its own way of showing films that would have otherwise been in ECLIPSE series DVD sets. And so I think the assumption is one that I agreed with, which was we have the great Criterion channel, and so maybe that meant no more ECLIPSE series sets. But at the same time, that left me a bit heartbroken, because as great as the Criterion channel is, and knowing that you'd be able to see even now, and I am currently a subscriber to the Criterion channel since I moved to the States, but knowing that even though you can use that great service to watch films that might be maybe slightly under the radar, maybe not as, say, prominent or well-known as, say, other films from the same filmmaker, etc. This was still a place that you could watch these brilliant, brilliant films. The ECLIPSE series beforehand, and then the Criterion channel. Well, my dear friends, it seems that Criterion has answered the call for those who, like me, might have been heartbroken, even just a little bit, with regard to the perceived end of the ECLIPSE series physical media lineup. They've answered the call by releasing a new ECLIPSE series. This is ECLIPSE series 47, and ABBAS KIAROSTAMI's it's called Early Shorts and Features. I've seen a number of these already on the Criterion channel. And I think, yes, as of now, I think a number of these are already still available on the Criterion channel. So if you're a subscriber to the Criterion channel, you can definitely take advantage and watch a number of these, which are what I've seen are fascinating. I haven't seen all of these, so I'll have to make up for that, or I'll make up for that when I get this new ECLIPSE series set. I mean, this is really great. The ECLIPSE series was just that wonderful place that you could go, and I think reasonably priced place that you could go to maybe further your own exploration or journey to a particular movement or filmmaker. So, and these titles might not necessarily have gotten their own, say, flagship style type of release, and that's not to take anything away from the films themselves, because they are also brilliant, and each deserves their own moment in the sun, as it were. But maybe just for certain reasons, maybe they might not necessarily have gotten any kind of robust release. Well, we got those ECLIPSE series sets, and so those are always lovely to rely upon and watch, and you get so many gems from that. And it's just a reminder too of how vast the cinema ocean is, that great ocean of cinema. It's just so vast. You can't cover everything, but you can get pretty close sometimes, especially when you consider what the ECLIPSE series had to offer. And it also is just a great reminder too of just what was what was out there that maybe one might not necessarily have heard about until you heard about it through, say, places like the Eclipse series. So it's nice to see that tradition continued on. Again, maybe for those who have the Criterion channel streaming service, something like the Eclipse series might not necessarily have as potent a functionality as the Eclipse series once had prior to the advent of streaming. So if you're in that position and you think, oh, I'm content with the same type of offerings that the Criterion channel, the streaming service itself, has to provide to me, and I can rely on that. I already pay my subscription fees, etc. So if I can rely on that, then good for you. I'm so happy for that possibility or that option for you. So maybe then the Eclipse series or this new Eclipse series might not strike you as being something that you want to go out and buy immediately, and that's fine, totally fine. And maybe, right, I'm also a subscriber to the Criterion channel, so there is that to consider, of course. That being said, I'm just reminded just how much I relied upon the Eclipse series, and even now I rely upon the Eclipse series to revisit those films. There is a lovely compactness to these sets themselves. They're sort of a nice collection of similarly situated titles, so you can just go to one area and then further explore. Maybe it doesn't include every single aspect of that filmmaker or that movement, etc., but it's a really good representation of what those sets cover respectively. So in that, just remembering that spirit, I am so taken with this announcement. And then it's focusing on Kiarostami's shorts and features, sort of documentary style approaches to certain of them. So, which is, as you know, of Kiarostami's style, this is very much part of what it is he did throughout the throughout his filmography. So if you are interested in, if you are taken with the works of Kiarostami, what you've seen, and you haven't had a chance to see these films, I mean, these, I think you can, I strongly recommend seeing these. It's interesting that the Eclipse series here is going to be released on a Blu-ray set rather than a DVD set. That's very interesting, because that'll be then the first time we'll be seeing these films, or we'll be seeing an Eclipse series in the Blu-ray format. So, and I note that some of these are, again, it's described here as being, some of them, at least some of them, are 2K restorations. So, but it'll be nice to. It'll be nice to re-examine these. I'm not sure if we're going to see anything that will be so quote unquote different, maybe presentation wise, from what we're able to see from the Criterion channel offerings themselves. But we shall see about that as well. So, but in any event, I will be getting this. It's something that is very near and dear to me, the Eclipse series. It'll be interesting to see how the Blu-ray format takes to the Eclipse series as well, and vice versa. Yes, there's always been sort of a DVD format release, so we're just getting Blu-ray only. I'm a big fan of the DVD format as well, so I would have been very happy to have seen this also being offered in the DVD format. It looks like, according to the website, it is not. So we only have the Blu-ray. And we say only, I mean, that's still great, but we have it in the Blu-ray format only option and no other option. So, but and of course we'll see how it looks in terms of its size and dimensions, and what the actual discs themselves look like, and is it a case, or is it going to be like that that sleeve that all the Eclipse series had before, etc., with their own individual thin cases, etc. And that sort of, and the writing, how it was going to be appeared in the inside cover, and all those details of the physical media aspects. Well, that'll be interesting to examine. But in any event, with all that, the spirit is still alive. So I'm not only curious and intrigued. I'm very this is very heartwarming and very exciting for me as well. Not to mention, of course, re-examining those films which I've already seen of this set, of the Kiarostami set, but also looking at the films that I have not yet seen. So I'm very excited indeed. So this is the Eclipse Series 47, ABBAS Kiarostami, Early Shorts and Features. Okay, next, scheduled for release on November 18th, 2025. And this is for spine number 1288. And this is described as being a film from the year 1930. The name of the filmmaker is Howard Hughes. The name of the film is Hell's Angels. So this is great. Hell's Angels is coming to the Criterion Collection, and it looks like it's coming to be purported to be based on a new 4K digital restoration of the Magnascope Roadshow version, and this is 132 minutes according to the Criterion description. 4K plus Blu-ray release or a single disc Blu-ray release, your choice. And spine number 1288. Oh my goodness! So Howard Hughes, Hell's Angels. So I saw this many years ago. I didn't see it projected in any theater screening or anything, unfortunately. But I saw it fairly young, and I was very taken with it. It's a sort of war action epic, and then. I mean, it's quite thrilling, and I remember discovering it in terms of my own cinema journey back in the day, maybe starting around early teenagers, pre-teens, early teens, something like that, where I was trying to watch as many films as I could from, the early sound period and 1930s. Late 20s, early 30s, going into the 40s, and part of that discovery or journey for me was watching, among other things, Hell's Angels. So I was quite captivated by it, and was very taken and surprised in a lot of ways. It's a very interesting, very, I think, fascinating furtherance of one's journey in terms of Howard Hughes' story, and very fascinating story at that. But maybe in the context of filmmaking and cinema, then we have, of course, the ties with Scorsese and The Aviator, etc. But this film is it's wonderful. Oh, it would have been interesting if there could have been maybe a double feature Criterion in terms of maybe releasing Hell's Angels and then also releasing The Aviator. But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, Hell's Angels this is a really enthralling, exciting war film. And so it'll be World War One. It'll be great to see this once again, but in the context of again 4K digital restoration. So. I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to this film, but I certainly am a fan. So Howard Hughes' Hell's Angels is coming to the Criterion Collection. We don't have a DVD release of this as well, unfortunately, but we do, as I mentioned, we'll be getting the Blu-ray release and then the 4K plus Blu-ray release of this. I'm looking at it, and I don't have I don't have any grasp as to the home media release history of this film, but we do have a number of things that are described as new. Let's see. Oh, yes, I'm an admirer of the work of Farron Smith-Nemi. So Farron Smith-Nemi will be speaking, according to this, about actor Jean Harlow, among other things. That's really great. As you know, Jean Harlow features prominently in this great work, Hell's Angels. So that's great. And that cover art design looks fantastic. New cover by Sam Hadley. So, wow. So Howard Hughes' film is coming to the Criterion Collection. It's a technical marvel. It's sort of groundbreaking in a lot of ways, and really, really exciting. So Can't wait for this one as well. So scheduled for release again November 18th, 2025. Spine number 1288, and this is the 1930 film Hell's Angels. Wow. Next, also scheduled for release November 18th, 2025, and this is a film which is going to be for spine number 1289. This is described as being from the year 1953. The name of the filmmaker is Luis Buñuel, and the name of the film is El. So Buñuel's film El is coming to the Criterion collection as well, and it looks like it's going to be based upon, yes, a new 4K digital restoration. And we're going to get either a 4K plus Blu-ray release, a Blu-ray release, single disc Blu-ray release, or you can also get a DVD. So hurrah, yay, hip hip hooray! The DVD format is still alive, at least in the context of a new film or release here. El, I'm very happy about that. Oh my goodness, Buñuel's El on physical media release like this. This is kind of big news. I remember seeing this in college, but it was a kind of it was a bit of a rough copy, and I think it was a VHS copy, and it was a bit of a rough copy. So I don't know what I don't recall any hearing subsequently about this getting a kind of release outside of outside of those roughed up quality VHS tapes that others might have encountered. So this in many ways for me, again, there was a period in my college years where I was so fortunate to be able to explore as many of the Buñuel films that I could, and we have this one. Buñuel's filmography, it could be said to be, in many ways, there are certain maybe chapters or certain segments of his filmography, and one of such segments is his period in Mexico, and so El is one of those in that period from the 50s. This is being early 50s, so 1953. So you can explore different chapters of the Buñuel filmography from, say, the early period, and then the period from Mexico, and then afterwards, etc. There is a line of, say, a type of Buñuel approach, and we understand that this can be made manifest in, say, actual physical maybe images, or we can see it in expressed in how characters interact with each other, or maybe a little bit of both. And so you're going to get a lot of this in El, which is very much a film about. It is a film about relationships and a kind of growing decay or decaying sense of paranoia and panic and being ill at ease, which when examined through the sort of Buñuelian microscope like El, you're going to get a very heightened, intense, melodramatically intense work in a lot of respects. So this is one of those great Buñuelian films, El, and so I'm very happy to get this news. Really, really happy. And as I say, I've only experienced this film through, and I don't consider myself at all an expert in the world of Buñuel, so I've experienced this film only through my very limited exposure to it in admittedly not the best of shape types of say VHS copies. So this will be, I think, for me it'll feel like a new watch. A first-time watch for me in many respects. So, and I'm relying a lot on memory too, because I haven't seen it in quite a while. So I'm going to have to refresh a lot of things. I'm going to have to try to remember. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly some of the details as I'm trying to recall them in my head. So in many ways, this will be like a first-time watch for me. I'm left here very, very excited for this. Very excited indeed. And I'm looking at some of the the special features that are listed. So also very excited for this as well. Oh, well done. So Buñuel's L is coming to the Criterion collection. And as I say, on a DVD, Blu-ray, or the 4K plus Blu-ray, so your choice. Again, Spy number 1289, and this is the film L. Last but certainly not least, scheduled for release, we have one more here, scheduled for release November 25th, 2025, and this is for Spy number 1290. And this is purported to be based on a new 4K digital restoration of the international version of the film. And this is a film which is described as being from the year 1999. The name of the filmmaker is Stanley Kubrick, and the name of the film is Eyes Wide Shut. So, I saw this announcement when it first landed on the Criterion website, whatever it was, around the 15th of this month. So it's been some time, some days have passed already between my knowing of this news and then making this video. So I've had a little bit of time to process this information in my head. But I really cannot, I cannot fully contain my excitement when it comes to this. This is, I think, for a lot of people, myself included, maybe kind of jump up and down moment type of thing. Not to say that Eyes Wide Shut has never been made available on physical media. It has. But that's one thing to keep in mind, too, is the very nature of physical media releases and Kubrick films, and how, depending on what release you have, you might get a slightly different take or slightly different presentation of the film, etc. So that'll be one thing to keep in mind when we look at this, what's described as a new 4K digital restoration. So I've seen the film many times, but I don't know what this new 4K digital restoration has in store for us, but we shall wait and see. I should note that the aspect ratio is described as 1.85 to 1, according to the Criterion Collection website. I saw this film when it was initially released, and then, of course, around that time we got the very sad news of the passing of Stanley Kubrick, and so there's a lot in the air with regard to Kubrick, with regard to Eyes Wide Shut, with regard to this film, and so the momentum of this film. And I remember when I saw it, this is late 90s, so I was very young still, much younger than I am now. And there was a lot that I didn't get. So it left me perplexed in a lot of ways. It was kind of shocking, too, in many respects. I'm trying to be as vague as possible. I don't want to go into specifics of the film, but there were some moments that really just really shocked me. And then there are other moments that dazzled me. Mine eyes dazzle. And I felt like I was both, I was being pulled in one direction in terms of enthrallment, and I was pulled in another direction in terms of bewilderment. And perhaps the bewilderment was maybe overtaking the enthrallment in certain respects. Again, this was my initial impressions after watching the film once, again, at a very young age, relatively speaking. And then, of course, I would revisit it as much as I could, and realizing maybe different aspects of how the film was shown, maybe in the United States, and also how the film was shown, for instance, in Japan. And there are some quite striking, subtle yet striking differences that one can say exist. And so that might be something to consider when we re-examine this film, or explore this film upon the occasion of Criterion's release in upcoming November. But just going back to my own journey about this, over many watches of this and over time, and just discussing with many people who were also very captivated by it and really were exploring this more deeply than I was. I was becoming more and more enthralled. And so the enthrallment, the bewilderment was still there, but the bewilderment, I think, created a sense of enigma and mystery, which I think also propels one forward when one watches Eyes Wide Shut. You know, Eyes Wide Shut it depends also on the sense of the unknown, which I think is, you see it manifest in many aspects of, say, the journeys of the characters, in particular the protagonist portrayed by Tom Cruise. Things that are encountered, not quite knowing what they are, getting a sense of what things might be, even on a type of conspiratorial level, but not knowing precisely what's going on. That sense of the unknown is very important in terms of the plot and the subplot, but also in terms of what the very essence of Eyes Wide Shut could be said to be, which is not just the examination of a relationship or relationships, but really the realization that even when it comes down to, say, many years of say, marriage or being together or devotion or intimate relationships, there's only so much that one can know about the other, which means that there's a lot that one doesn't know about the other. And that isn't any fault of any one person on whatever side of that relationship equation we're talking about. That is what it is. And that realization can be horrifying. That can be, maybe for some, maybe in a dramatic sense, maybe as expressed in many stories of narrative, can be life-threatening, can be lead to heights of melodrama. I mean, I spoke about another great film that's going to be released in November here, the Buñuel film, Elle. So there's a similar type of vibe going on, one can say, between Elle and Eyes Wide Shut. And then going to Eyes Wide Shut here, I mean, that can be like a horror film, or that can be like a conspiratorial thriller film. It could also be at the very heart of just what it is that one, you know, it's either you are threatened by this forever and are paranoid by this forever, or there's maybe some effort at trying to maybe bridge some divide of in the hopes of maybe leading to something, however futile those efforts might be. This, I think, is at the very heart of what Eyes Wide Shut has come to mean for me. Which is then to say that over the years, as I've watched it more and more, I found it to be a very it's a sort of reckoning of this. And again, I'm not saying that I am like these characters, and I'm not saying that my life experience is in any way directly mirroring what these characters have gone through, but I can definitely appreciate the point that I think is being made here, which is the sense of recognition that you can only know so much, and then you have to realize that you don't know other people as well as one might like. And so how do you deal with this? And so this can lead to many different results or conclusions, and then you just have to figure out that on your own, based on your own life. But I think what the film is endeavoring to do is saying, especially there's a point where maybe not acceptance might not be the right word, but a type of recognition of this, which itself I think is a really big step. Now the question is whether that is fully realized over the course of the running time of the film or not. Arguably for some maybe it is, maybe for others maybe it isn't. It's up to you to decide when you watch the film, as well as any other interpretations that you might apply when watching this very rich film that's Eyes Wide Shut. But I've said it a number of times earlier, but on the YouTube channel, but I'll say it again. I find, therefore, for me, in my own view of Eyes Wide Shut, I look at Eyes Wide Shut as being one of the most, relatively speaking, one of the most optimistic, potentially optimistic, in all of Kubrick's canon. And when I think of Kubrick's canon, for me, they're great films. And not to say that a film that relies heavily on cynicism is anyway a bad film, and I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that for the most part, I do find Kubrick's films to rely on a sense of cynicism to resolve the drama. And that itself is a great point that Kubrick makes in a lot of these films that he makes. But in that context, I find I find Eyes Wide Shut to be amongst his most potentially optimistic films. And I will say that, and I've said it before, but I'll say it again, which is I'm not a filmmaker and I'm not an artist. I might have one day early in my life thought, oh, it would be a nice dream to be a filmmaker, to be a director. That never happened. But were I to be a filmmaker, maybe in my next life, I were to become a filmmaker, I could only hope that if I were to be fortunate enough to be a director of films, like a writer director of films, and I make a number in my life, I would only hope that I could be so lucky to have the last line of dialogue in the final film that I would ever make in my life to be the same line of dialogue that is the last word spoken in the film Eyes Wide Shut. That would be kind of, for me, an ultimate endpoint, an ultimate bookmark, a kind of dream come true from a filmmaking standpoint. In any event, yes, I hope I could only hope that were I a filmmaker, the last line of my final film could be the same last line that's heard in Eyes Wide Shut. But in any event, that is just another maybe anecdotal approach to another reason why I admire this film so much. I really do. I think this is one of the greats. And just the more I watch it, and as I get older, the more I watch it, the more I find, my goodness, this is really hitting me emotionally in ways that maybe I'm too uncomfortable to admit. So it's that powerful, and it's becoming even more powerful as the viewings pass. Not to mention, of course, the use of music and just I mean, there's so many great classical. I mean, there's so many great uses of music here. I don't want to be. Well, I guess I just. There's a period where I just couldn't get "Baby Did a Bad Thing" out of my head for like weeks or months. I mean, which is a good thing, so I can't complain about that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. This is just to say that I, much like many others here, or like many others who are excited about this, I too am very excited about this. I'll be curious to see what the restoration version has to offer. That itself is its own, I think, interesting curiosity. So it'll be interesting to see that. I do have previous non-Criterion releases, so I'll just hold on to those just to see maybe as comparison points. And I'm looking at some of the supplements here, and amongst them we have this has been included in past releases, I think, but you can also see it. It's easy to see, I think, accessible to see. But there's the acceptance speech of Kubrick from the Directors Guild. What was it, the D.W. Griffith Award that he accepted? So he's there, I think, giving his speech in a kind of a pre-recorded fashion. So there's the famous line. I hope I remember this correctly, but there's a famous line where he says he likens filmmaking to trying to write War and Peace while you're in a bumper car in an amusement park. Which I think is just in many ways a very wonderfully typical Kubrickian quote, if ever there was one. It's really I like that very much. But in any event, I hope I got that right. But in any event, here we have Eyes Wide Shut coming to the Criterion Collection. So we had, of course, earlier in the year, the re-release of Barry Lyndon. And we've had other Kubrick films. We have Doctor Strangelove in the Criterion Collection. We have had, prior to the DVDs and Blu-rays, we've had a number of Criterion releases on Laserdisc. In 2001, A Space Odyssey was released on Criterion Laserdisc back in the day, and a number of releases, not just one, mind you. So, and then many others. So we have in some instances where we have a good relationship between the films of Kubrick and Criterion Collection releases. So Eyes Wide Shut is yet the latest chapter in that collaboration, in a manner of speaking. So that itself is a cause for celebration, as well as seeing the film again. Again, it's not that it's a lost film, not that it's one that's inaccessible. It's quite accessible now in terms of being able to watch it, but it's just being able to see it again in a new restoration in the hands of Criterion. Brilliant, utterly brilliant, and I'm looking forward to what this has to offer for sure, definitely. So here we go, coming to the Criterion Collection, November 25th, 2025. We have Spy number 1290. The film is Eyes Wide Shut. So I believe that is it. I mean, that is it. That word "it" carries with it. It's a very heavy meaning. So that is it. There's a lot to it. But yes, that is it as far as my understanding of what the Criterion Collection plans to release for us in November. So there's a lot here. There's a lot here. Some re-releases, in a manner of speaking, in terms of Burden of Dreams and The Breakfast Club, specifically. Some new entries here. Very exciting stuff. And I speak of Eyes Wide Shut, Elle, Hell's Angels, House Party, and a great eclectic mix, I should say, especially when considering the offerings of the new ECLIPSE series. The ABBAS KIAROSTAMI ECLIPSE series set. So, all in all, grinning from ear to ear, smiles all around for me. I am utterly delighted. I guess just getting it out of the way, maybe I would say I would have liked to have seen more of the DVD format being offered. As we see it, I think it's in the context of the Criterion release of Elle that we're seeing the DVD format. Surprisingly, we're not seeing it with the ECLIPSE series. I would have thought that Criterion's ECLIPSE releases would have been perfect for a continuation of the DVD format. But again, I don't know what I'll have to see what in terms of what the Blu-ray set will look and feel, both visually and presentation, also physical media wise, when it arrives in November. So I can't complain too much. I do note that the DVD offering seems to be a bit lighter than previous months. Now, I don't know if it's just for this month or if that's an indication of something to come. I'm not sure, but we'll just have to keep an eye on that. That being said, yeah, this is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Again, House Party. It would have been so cool if Criterion did a House Party box set. But anyway, we're getting House Party in the Criterion Collection. Not to mention Hell's Angels and Elle, which are, and I spoke in particular about Elle, about how that will be in many ways like a first-time watch for me, even though I have seen it before. And then also I think for a lot of people the show-stopping moment probably is Eyes Wide Shut, and I can definitely understand that. Of course, we don't forget the re-releases of The Breakfast Club and Burden of Dreams. I mentioned Hell's Angels is a new release, but then also Burden of Dreams. It'll make you want to watch Fitzcarraldo. So if you haven't seen that, you have to try to watch Fitzcarraldo as well. But it's definitely worth it if you're able to. So this is quite a month. We're almost towards the end of the year, so 2025 I think is shaping up to be filled with a lot of surprises and exciting things. There's going to be one more release month to be to wonder about, which is the December month. Maybe relatively speaking, December is seen as quote unquote a lighter month, but we shall see. I've always been excited for December releases, but yeah, and the same is true for what Criterion may have in store for us in December. So we'll have to wait for that next month's release announcement. But for now, it seems like there's a lovely cross section of films, a real lovely cross section of films, and it looks like. I don't know if it was done on purpose or this is entirely coincidental, but I really feel, and Criterion does this very well, I think, for the most part, or generally speaking, but I feel that this month in particular has this nice sense of fairly broad representation across the board in terms of different film maybe movements or periods or areas that are being covered to a certain degree. You can't cover everything, I understand, but it seems like there is a good sense of a good mix, a nice balance, which I appreciate very much. and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a lot. It's plentiful. It's quite plentiful. And if you think about the Eclipse series being, say, its own set, and it is, then we're getting a set here as well. So the idea of collector sets is still a very robust and alive idea in the hands of Criterion. So remember too that we are just on the cusp of getting our new set. As I make this, we're at the end of August, but at the end of next month, we'll be getting the Wes Anderson set. So box sets are alive and well in Criterion land. Of course, it would be great if we get more sets. The more sets, I think, the happier everyone is. I mean, of course, it depends on what the sets are and what they have to offer. But my point is, it's always wonderful when Criterion's able to get into the sets, the collector's sets mindset, and in that way, I'm very happy for what things have to offer. Going forward, Eclipse series too. I am very thrilled with this. I would say too that I should have mentioned this earlier, which is right. Just because, Criterion Channel is really great. Don't get me wrong, but any streaming service is subject to this, which is, it's not a promise. It's not a given that a film that you can find on a streaming service today, it's not a promise that it'll be there forever. It might be, but it might not be. It's at the whims of whatever is in terms of availability terms for that particular streaming service. We've seen it even Criterion Channel. We've seen it in the sense that maybe some films might be there, but they might be gone and leaving in 5 days or something like that. So my point is that usually streaming services that are reliable in that way tend to be more successful. So I think the Criterion Channel, again, based on my own limited knowledge and understanding of the industry that is streaming services, that being said, I think the Criterion Channel is quite reliable in some regards. But there is this notion about that still for streaming, it might not necessarily be there forever. So not to get too embroiled in a conversation about what quote unquote ownership means. What does it mean to own a copy of something in the context of watching a film in home media? There is something to be said about a relative sense of permanence that might give someone more sort of feeling less anxious, and so there is a reliance on something on physical media that it's there. Of course, it's subject to damage and being scratched up, etc. But if you take good care of it, it's still going to be there, and you can always watch that particular version, and not have to worry about will it be there tomorrow. So in that way, I think having the physical media releases of the Eclipse series, while serving arguably the same function as watching something on streaming, I think has a sense of maybe feeling you're feeling assured that you'll be getting a copy that you can rely on for a very, very long time. Let me put it that way. So in that regard, I do think the Eclipse series still has value, even standing side by side with the great streaming service that is the Criterion Channel. And I think it's great. I subscribe to it. I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it practically every day. So I have nothing against it. But there is something to be said about the relative feeling of permanence one has, and assurance one has because of these releases on physical media. So I hope that the Eclipse series is alive and well going forward, and that we see more of these sets. I really do. I think that would be fantastic. I think that would be a great way to go if Criterion is thinking about maybe there are those films that might not necessarily warrant spending that budget to create a huge box set that might not necessarily sell as well. And I'm thinking about it in cold market terms. But it might be worthwhile releasing it in an Eclipse series set maybe in terms of budgetary, it's more reasonable in terms of cost, but also you still get the films out. So, and I can think of so many possible box sets that would have a great, I think, would find a great welcoming home if they're released in, say, an Eclipse series set. So I can think of so many examples possibly of that. And I would be there watching them and getting those Eclipse series sets any day. I'm very happy about that. Again, that's just my view, and if you hold differently and relying on, say, the streaming services that you feel are reliable, then good for you, and please keep up with that. And I admire your approach very much. Obviously, I do. But again, for me, this news about, in particular, this Eclipse series news holds a lot of potential promise. So we'll have to just wait and see. With that, let me just end it there, and let me say thank you so much for your time, as always, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. So until the next video, my dear friends, please continue to be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies, including films in the Criterion Collection, including films outside of the Criterion Collection, anywhere you're able to watch them. Films here, there, and beyond. So until we see each other again, my dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.